Hola, damas y caballeros. Okay, so before anything else, I'd like to thank you for coming here, Rec Alicante. This is a very or an excellent conference to participate. You'll learn a lot of things through workshops and talks, and also I would like to thank the sponsors. If not for them, this is not possible, right? Victoria also. So this is about tRPC, and this is something interesting. Very short, just an overview of what tRPC can do. And what else? So yeah, you're here, it's good. Just listen to me so that you don't have to read the docs. I mean, you could read the docs later, but you know, this is a fast way to learn what tRPC is. So let's jump here first. Let's work on my slides. So tRPC is typed remote procedure call. It's a framework that plays a crucial role in creating type-safe APIs between the client and server-side web applications. Who am I? I'm DEVLIN Duldulao, originally from Manila, Philippines. I work for Mera. It's an IT consultancy in Norway. Been working there for 4 years. And during the pandemic, got nothing else to do, so I decided to write some books about React, about Vue.js, about Angular, and some backends. So, okay, so much for that. Let's talk about tRPC's features. So it has this type-safe APIs, auto-completion, extremely fast development, which you will see later in the demo. But before the demo, let me give you an overview of what RPC is. So an RPC, or remote procedure call, is like an old term. Basically, you call a function on the client, right, as if it exists there, but actually behind the scenes, it is going to talk to some server API endpoint. And then it will call the actual function on the server that you write. So RPC is this concept of, I'm going to call a function, but actually I wrote it on the server. And there's some layers in between. Okay, so let's compare about RPC to other that you have probably heard of, gRPC or REST or tRPC and other things, GraphQL. So, but first, RPC is simply RPC using TypeScript through a robust library. And here, gRPC is a protobuf binary bidirectional streaming RPC, which allows a client to send a stream of message to a server, and the server responds with the stream of messages, and it was made in Google. So that's gRPC. A very quick overview. What about REST? So tRPC allows you to easily build and consume fully type-safe APIs without schemas or code generation, and no need for example, Swagger UI. Both can have HTTP response caching. That's good. So you can cache in tRPC. What about GraphQL? So since all queries in tRPC are normal HTTP gets, we can use normal HTTP headers to cache the response, right? On the other hand, GraphQL queries are sent via HTTP post. So by default, it does not do caching because it's not idempotent, right? So both does request batching, later on if you want to do some batching for performance. What else? I drew a diagram here of where you can just visualize tRPC. So tRPC is sitting between your front end and, for example, an API gateway. So other example would be GraphQL, we see here, and then REST, then tRPC. So that's it. And then server-to-server communication. Normally, you would not use tRPC. Server-server communication. Normally, you would use REST, right? Or if you want to make it more performant, you can use gRPC. And then SQL queries for database and whatsoever. So for the demo, really quick, and again, this is full stack. I'm using Next.js, this React conference, so this is back-end code. So what's good about this is I would refactor my code. For example, post ID, I'm gonna change it to, oh, thank you. Mirror time, mirror on the wall. You see here? Really quick. Mirror. There you go. Good. Thank you. So, thank you very much. So again, back end, left side, front end, right side. Going to refactor this, and then without hitting the keyboard, Control S or Command S, I can just simply ID and look here. Maybe I should go back here so you would see. There you go, right? So refactoring code, what's a headache? Missing the types or different types. Refactoring, instead of post ID, just ID, and you would see the compiler checks it constantly, and then giving you this squiggly if you need to change. Of course, here you need to change it to ID, right? So that's one, good in tRPC. So how does tRPC do this? They have this secret sauce. As you can see here, this app router is like a root of all the routers you would create. You can see here like inline, but normally you wouldn't do inline routing logic. You would put it in a separate file, right? And now you are inferring it, bringing it to the front end, which is here. And then this tRPC, if you use a React query or TanStack query, tRPC has a wrapper where you can use this tRPC. And now going to, let's remove this. To the front end, you have this tRPC wrapping the React query, and you can definitely use this, right? For example, here, it's an array. I'm just going to show the first object, and then you can see that it's there. And it's very easy to set it up, especially if you use already React query. You have these optimistic updates, plus the type safe that you get from the back end trickling down to the front end. And last thing that I would like to show you, because this is just a short presentation, is HTTP batch link, where you can batch queries. So how does it look like? So going back here, what are links? If middlewares are for the back end, links are for the front end. So if you're thinking about middleware, so there should be like a sequence, right, of logical sequence where things should happen first before it goes to another function. As you can see here, I'm logging it before the batch link, and you can do some like, for example, authorization here or whatever. So links HTTP batch link, let's do a demo of that. It looks like this, already did some requests. There's supposed to be 3 HTTP requests in the front page or this home page, but we're batching it here, batch 1. There's this comment or HTTP request for comment, for health check, comment, health check, and then for the post list. And they're all together in just one single request. What about the parameters? You know, when you're sending HTTP requests, all here in this URL encoded, and you would see that it's here. Hold on. Yep. That the URL encoded JSON are here. So that's a very brief overview of what tRPC can do. Oops, this is, sorry about that. So use cases, TypeScript skills only, sorry. So single, also works for single development team, internal applications, not intended for selling API services. And if you want to implement facade design pattern like BFF or backend for front end. So summary, RPC is using TypeScript. The RPC using type inference heavily, as you can see there. It has auto-completion from back end to front end, and it's framework agnostic, by the way. You can use it in Angular, Vue, Vanilla JS, and React Native, by the way, in one of my teams using tRPC in their React Native application. Sources, here, tRPC.io, github.com, tRPC. And this quick demo repo, you can find it in my GitHub here. So that's all. Gracias.